In this video, we're going to finish the rest of the frame here, okay? So I've got all the rest of the frame pieces laid out. I also preloaded a lot of these corner brackets because I'm sure you guys don't just want to watch me load these things up. And then I half loaded some too. I half loaded 6 of them that are going to mount to these 3 in here. That's another thing. So in the first build, the rear panel, I forgot to mention putting some slide-ins in this and this one. So these need 2 slide-ins each. Okay, so I just loosened this rail, the 6 on the backside holding this rail, push it over just a little bit, push 2 in, push it over this way, push 2 in. Okay, so maybe pause the video and do that, and then once you're done, we'll get started with the rest. So we've got the 2 Y rails you built last video, and then 2 long ones and 2 short ones. Okay, we've also got the front bar right here, which is just as long. Now, the one we won't be dealing with right now, this one's just a little bit shorter, right? It's like an inch and a half, like 30, 40 millimeters shorter. This is our gantry, so we're not going to be messing with this yet. This comes later. Everything else is going to go into the frame. Okay. So I'm going to start from left to right here. Okay. And so this is the top, this is the bottom. So the top will be using the shorter ones, the bottom and the inner rail will be using the long ones. So here's the short guys. What I'm going to do with this is put a bracket on it first. Oh yeah, this angle. Hopefully this camera angle works out for you. If it doesn't, give me ideas of other places or just tell me it doesn't work and I'll have to figure it out. Okay, and this is a half loaded one. So the fully loaded one has, an M5 washer bracket and then slot nut on each of the bracket holes. The half loaded one just has the slot nut in one of the holes. So if this goes in like this, then this goes on here. Okay, and then I'm just going to slide it on. Try to slide it on. There we go. Okay. It slid on. Now I got to straighten it here. Get it as straight as possible. Okay, then I'm going to wrench it down. And then this little guy, I'm going to slide this nut in and capture it with a M5x10 screw and a washer. Maybe. There it goes. It's catching. All right. So there's that rail. Okay. And now we'll do this rail, which is a longer one. So same thing. Gonna put one of the fully loaded brackets in. Okay, and it's going like this, so that means there's a bracket going on this side, back here. So I'll put one of the half loaded back there. Line it up. All right. I'm gonna slide it in. And I guess I'll straighten it first and tighten it down. There you go. That's pretty good. And then capture this side with a nut or a screw, a screw and a washer. Perfect. All right. Now, one of the rails we built. So the left side has a power supply, right? It has a power input panel on it. And so it goes a little bit like this here. Oh, sorry, I pulled this off for a different video I made. I'll put this back on. Okay, get it straight and tighten it on. Cool. Okay. So power supply goes on bottom here, right? So I'm going to capture that with a screw and a washer. There we go. And not too tight. It still needs to be able to move because we need to position it. Now, if I look at my drawing here, I can tell that it is 80 millimeters from the base. So the base is down here, right? And so from the bottom of this right here to here is 80 millimeters. So I'm going to measure that out. Scooch it up here. There we go. That looks good. Okay. I'm trying not to move it up and down, but it does need to be centered on here. So I'm going to do that. Center it up. Now this one, it's really important that this one is as straight as possible. Okay, get this lined up as best as you can because the rail's going to be on here. And if it's like this or like this or like this, any of these things, if it's not like really straight, it's going to bind up a little bit and it will cause issues. So try to get them perfectly straight as you can. This one and this one. These ones are ones that matter. And if needed, we can straighten them later if it's not working out here. So it's not a huge deal. It's just try to make it as straight as possible. Cool. All right. So there's that side done. Now we'll go to the other side. So same idea here. I'm going to go from top to bottom, or top one, this one, and then the inner one. So the shorter one goes up top. So put a dual bracket on it, or fully loaded corner bracket on it. All right. And this is a short one, yeah. So it's going to slide in this way, which means I need a bracket on this side. A single loaded bracket, half loaded bracket, whatever you want to call it. Okay. Now I'm going to slide this on. And then I'll slide this bracket or this slot nut underneath here. And I'll grab it with a screw and a washer. So put a screw on. Put a screw on. There we go. Put a washer. And then load it up. All right. Now for the long one, same thing. The fully loaded bracket. Okay, slides in this way, so I need a half one right there. All right, that's pretty good. All right, then slide this nut underneath and screw in washer. And then my other Y rail. All right, looks like I pulled that one off too. It's all right. Thought I had another half loaded. Oh, there we go. Cool. Put a half loaded back on here. I actually, the reason I pulled it off here was because I recorded, and about 20 minutes in, I realized I never remembered to actually hit record. So I had to disassemble the whole thing for video sakes and start it up again. So that's why these were actually off. But this is what we built with this piece on it here. All right. Okay. And now I need to measure it again. Make sure it's 80 millimeters. And try to get it as straight as possible. Right? You don't want it tilted anyway. You want this one like as straight as you can get it. That feels pretty good to me. All right, tighten that up. Cool. So now that we got these long pieces on, I'm going to tilt it down towards me. All right. Okay, so before we get too far, we should probably preload some of these. So if you're going to enclose it, like put pieces on the sides, and you're going to put a base on it, then we should probably preload some of these M5s. So I built these without enclosures before. They just let the smoke out, whatever. And I built them without bases. Actually, most of them I built don't have bases. But sometimes I forget they don't have bases, and I have engravings here. I have engravings here. I miss the piece of wood I have, or it's a test machine, and I don't have the speed quite right, and it skips, and we get this. Or I forget to put the piece of wood under it, and it does this. So it's a good idea to have a base, but you don't need it. Okay, so from the drawing, I see there's 3 holes in the top part of the enclosure. There's 3 holes in bottom, and there's 3 holes in the base. Okay. If you're looking at the model, the 3D model, moving it around, you can look at the side and see that there's 3 holes on top, 3 holes on bottom. So I'm going to preload that. So flat part out as usual. Now, one thing it doesn't show on the drawing. So there's 3 on the side. 1, 2, 3 on the bottom. It does not show that there's an M3 nut that you need on the top part here. You're going to have a drag chain full of wires, and it's going to connect to this point. So make sure to put an M3 in here also. M3 slot nut. So these are all M5s all around the enclosure, but that's an M3. Okay. We need M3s up here. And same thing with this side. So we need 9, right? 3, 3, and 3. So we need 3 on bottom. 3 on the side. And then 3 up top here, still on the side. Okay, now that we got that, let's put our front bar on. Let's do that first. So that's this long bar sitting over here. So I'm going to put a bracket in here, okay? And also a bracket up top because I won't be able to get to it once there's a bar in the way. So bracket up top and a bracket down here. Okay. And now, let's pull out a different tool here. Here we go. I'm going to line this bracket up. So if getting your frame getting your frame square is really important to you, the best way to get your frame square is the base. And it's coming up in a few videos. It might be the next video or the video after that's going to show you how to make the base. So I use the CNC mill to make my base, but you don't have to. It's actually really easy to do by hand, especially if you have a drill press. But if you put a base on the bottom here, it's going to sort of force the whole thing square. If not, we're just going to have to finagle it till it turns square. And I'll show you that in another video too. But right now, try to get it kind of square. Like, it's not super important to, worry about squareness. Okay, here's that long piece that goes up here. So I'm gonna slide it into this side. And then I'm gonna slide it into this side. Maybe. There we go. Okay. I'm going to put it on the table and let the table make it flush. So this side's even. Okay. And then we're doing this side. All right. Cool. So we got that there. And now we're going to do some other slide-ins here. Okay. So I'm going to slide. So, okay. I guess I should explain this first. So here we have 2 like this and 2 like this. Okay. So we need one that goes on the inside here, one that goes on the inside here, and one that goes on the outside here. So that's what I'm going to be doing slide-ins right now for. So this one goes this way. This one turns in this way. There we go. And then this one goes this way to capture the outside beam. Maybe. Actually, with the outside one, I think I'll just slide it in there and then finagle the beam on. Okay. Then same thing on this side. Oh, backwards. Perfect. Okay. Now I'm going to get these beams on here. Okay. Pull this out of the way just a little bit. Actually, I'll pull it way over here because this will be easy to construct right here. This one can be constructed in place. So I'm going to tighten the bracket on the side here. And gravity should keep it pretty straight. I want to line it up as best as I can. There we go. And then start tightening the other side. I want to do this one just a little bit snug. There we go. A little awkward, but the camera can see it. Normally I'd have this like in my lap or flipped or something, but to make sure you guys can see it, I'll leave it like that. And you can watch me struggle. Okay, so this guy is going to have this piece, this angled piece. You might have 3D printed it. You might have ordered it. Either way, it's going to have it here. Okay. So what I'm going to do before I get these guys on is get one of these in here. I'm going to do the same thing on this guy while it's easy to access. All right. So then I have these guys, but I also have to make sure it captures onto these Y rails that we made. So I'm going to put some screws in there. So screw, washer, and slot nut. And same thing on bottom. Screw, washer, slot nut. All right. So now I have a lot of things to capture, a lot of things to line up here. Okay. So I'm going to hit this top slot there, and that one's a little tight. So I'll loosen it up just a little bit here. There we go. Slide it in this. Make sure both these are straight. Cool. Now that it's in there, I can make sure it's the right width using this little bar here. This bar is the one that goes up here. So, okay, that looks pretty good. Now I'll tighten this one down. Okay. Squish that in a little bit and tighten this one also. Okay, now this outside one's pretty easy to get to, right? It's that inside one that's tough. That's where it might actually be nice to have an Allen wrench. Or maybe do the inside one first and then do the outside. We'll try that on the other side, see if that makes it easier after all this work you do. I've actually got even more cheater pieces. I've got ball head Allens, which can tighten things at angles. Now I want to do a final torque with the ball head. Oh, is this even the right size? Nope. There we go. Here's a one. So I'm going to tighten it like so it actually grabs, and then I'll do a final torque with an Allen. You'll rip things up if you torque things down with a ball. All right, there we go. Okay. Oh, I still need to place one in here. How silly of me. Good thing I have this ball. Yeah, we'll make sure to do that better on the other side. Okay, tight enough, and then use the actual Allen key to torque it. All right, there we go. Okay. And now to get this thing straight, boy, there's not much room over here to work at all. With the power supply in the way, the rail. That's all right. So what I'm trying to do is get this bracket right here sort of flush with the top of this. There we go. Okay. That's definitely on there. Now I need to tighten this guy. Perfect. All right. Okay. So now we need to get the angle piece on here. Okay. Just slides right in. Trying to get that straight there. They match up pretty well. I'm going to have to cinch it in just a little bit. But I'll get one of them tightened, and then I'll go for the other. All right. Okay, we got that now. Okay. Now, next thing we need to do is let's see, we can get the top piece in here, but if you have a dual laser, you're gonna need a switch for it. And so the switch actually goes right here. Okay? That way you can switch between lasers. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna build that bracket first. And I'm gonna center my aluminum between the red piece here. Yours might not be red, but I'm going to center it between that. Make sure it doesn't come out. Make sure it doesn't go beyond flush. It can come in behind the flush, but it can't go beyond, or else it'll get in the way of your enclosure, if you're putting an enclosure down, I guess. Okay. So that piece is on here. It goes on this. Okay. I'm going to put some preloaded on this thing. Trying to get it straight. That's pretty good. Okay. Same thing over here. Okay. I want to slide it on. Oh, whoops. Slide it on the right way. There we go. I'm going to use a stubbier. There we go. This one's a little shorter. You might just have to reach in there with your Allen wrench and do it. Okay, and then I'll put a fully loaded up here and get that square. Okay, then slide this guy in. Maybe. Seems to have other plans. There we go. Oh. I'll go this way. Okay. And then I'm going to push it down till it matches this. There we go. A little difficult to get in there, but it'll get lined up soon. So because I can access this one, straighten this one out, I'm going to straighten this guy. Or tighten this guy. Okay, that's tight. Now, as you can see, it doesn't line up perfectly. That's all right. So I'm just going to move it over and tighten it. Guess I'll use a short one again. I might need to loosen the brackets back there because it seems to be lifting the whole thing up. That's easy enough to do. All right, there we go. Perfect. Okay, so we got one side done. So if you can figure out the other side, that's great because it goes on same way. But I'd suggest starting with the inner piece first and then do the outer piece just because it's easier to reach things, like all this stuff. So what I'm going to do, I guess I'll just continue the video. You can watch me. It's going to be longer because I have to preload more of these brackets. But it'll get there. It'll get done. So I'm starting with the inside one first over here. And then doing the top one. Okay. I think this is the bracket I meant to use on the other side because it has the angle piece, the corner bracket on it already. Then I'll take the angled bracket here, make sure it's the right distance from the side. Okay, it's a little far in. So I'm gonna give it a couple taps. There we go. Okay. Yeah, this is a lot easier from this side. All right. This side feels much straighter. That's cool. All right. Okay, so that went on pretty well, doing it that way. And I'll preload this one too while I'm at it. Okay, and it needs a screw and a washer and the slot nut for the top side also. The screw is too tightened to get the slot in there. All right, perfect. All right, then I put my angle in here. and tighten that down. Oh, I guess I was screwing it the wrong way. Okay, for reals this time. No more practice round. Okay, right way this time. All right, looking good here. Cool. Looks like I was just one corner bracket short of completing this. All right, gonna preload this. Oh, oh no, yeah, I got this right. Cool. Second guessing myself. Do I got this right? No, I need one more bracket, huh? Yeah, I need one more. Okay. And then two more drop-ins. Okay. Some more washers. Some more screws. Almost there, guys. Okay. Okay, and then I'll get one more on here. Slide it on. All right. Put the stubby on. And the last little piece. On this side, sliding together much nicer than the other side. Oh. So when I chop this, I still have this little like edge left on this angle. So I want that pointed inside. I was going to chop it off with little flush cutters, but the camera stand is currently blocking that. So I guess I'll just flip it around. Okay. I had to bend it a little bit, but not much on this side. And there we go. Cool. We have the entire frame built now. Okay. And thanks for watching.